Legacy Reborn podcast. A man and a woman who have failed miserably, but took a second and third chance at love and life and decided to share their stories of being reborn.
Hey guys, thanks for joining in. I have a special guest in studio today. Actually, I have two special guests. My better half is down with the migraine and couldn't make it in, so I have our main guest in studio, Bob Perez, UFC coach. Locally, you own the gym as well, right?
There's three of us that own the gym, Main Street Boxing and Muay Thai.
And then I also have my good friend and business partner, Matt Velasquez, in studio as well.
The sexier better half.
So let's jump right into it, guys. Bob, tell me about your story. Tell me where you grew up. How was it for you?
Well, man, I grew up in the Jersey Village area, Cy-Fair School District. I'm a kid of the 70s and 80s.
Mm-hmm.
It was great. I enjoyed it. I started, playing baseball from the time I could walk, I remember throwing the ball with my granddad. I mean, I literally remember like 3 years old. My dad was actually an avid baseball player and softball player and boxer, so just kind of passed it on. And I just had a great life, man. Tough times, financially,
yeah.
My dad was the only one that supported us, but it was a really happy childhood. So went to JV 3 years, and then I graduated from Big Ike in 1992.
Yeah, we were in here talking just now.
Yeah.
Me and Bob have a lot of the similar lines. We both went to Eisenhower. Baseball was my first love.
You played ball?
And I played ball at Eisenhower. They made me choose baseball, you choose football. I made the stupid decision of choosing football, but baseball was always my first love.
Absolutely.
Even to this day now, I get out there and play as much as I can.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, no, so I know, got a lot of questions for you. I know you started Muay Thai when you were 8.
No. I grew up boxing.
You grew up boxing.
So my dad was a boxer.
Yeah.
Actually, his coach, his name, he's cousin of ours, Delio Palacios. They're from South Texas. His son, Delio Palacios Jr., he was Canelo before Canelo. He's redhead, ginger Mexican. So, his last fight was actually against Freddie Roach here in Gillies in Pasadena in 1984. Wow. So, I mean, it's kind of been in our family. So I started as a kid, and then up until senior year in high school. And then once I started college, I was done with it, man. I was tired of the gyms. I grew up in like old school Mexican boxing gyms.
Wow.
But I loved it. And then I became a sparring partner for a childhood friend in something called Valetudo, so MMA, no holds barred, and that was in the mid-'90s, maybe like 95 or 96. I always get it twisted. Those years are kind of fuzzy for me. So that's where I found Muay Thai and where I found Jiu-Jitsu and just MMA.
So what made you jump into Muay Thai from boxing?
Well, he beat my butt, man. My goal, he called me up literally from kindergarten all the way to U of H. He was a year ahead of me. He's like, hey, man, I'm doing this thing called no holds barred fighting. I need a sparring partner. He used to box. Can you come spar with me? I'm like, sure. And my goal was to knock him out. And his goal was to leg kick me, take me down. And I couldn't even touch him. As soon as I throw a jab or whatever, I'm on my back or he's blasting my leg. And that's where I'm like, well, whatever this is, I need to learn. Because I used to have a lot of boxers, man, they have that mentality. I got hands. Yeah. I don't need that. Kicks are stupid. That's stupid. Can't box when you're on your back. I can promise you that. You can't box when somebody's blasting that lead leg that you're heavy on. So I'm a big believer in being well-rounded. Absolutely.
That's awesome. No, so I know you as Bob or Coach, but people also know you as Crew.
Yeah, Crew is just another word for teacher.
Yeah.
It's the Thai word for teacher, just KRU.
Is there certain you gotta do anything to be?
I was actually recognized by the Sports Authority of Thailand, the Crew Association of Thailand, and then as well Saxon Janjira. It's probably been about 7 years. Who it's my Muay Thai lineage. He gave me his blessing to teach. I think I'm one of 6 or 7 people that he's given their blessing. So that's it. People can buy certifications now and stuff, but man, I did it the hard way, the long way.
You earned your stripes.
I did.
You cut your teeth in this.
Yeah, I was never a fighter or anything, man. I found my way. I mean, I boxed a little bit and did some kickboxing smokers, but I just kind of found my calling by accident, coaching, teaching. And I think that's what I was meant to do.
Yeah, the funny thing is we're talking about all this fighting and everything, but you're super smart as well.
Man,
And the thing is, I'm reading up on this guy, and I'm like, he's an environmental scientist.
yeah.
So I'm kind of intimidated. I have a Muay Thai boxer, a CEO, and then you got a banker.
Yeah, hey, man, we're all the same, man. We're all the same. You know, I went to from Ike, man.
Yeah.
Senior year, I had already gotten into A&M, UT, Baylor. I want everybody. I mean, I got in everywhere.
Wow.
When I graduated from Ike, I think I was number 21 in my class without even trying senior year, because senior year, you know, and then
you got that senioritis.
I had already decided to go to U of H because I thought I was going to go into optometry, which they're probably still number one in the country for, you know, optometry. So 4 years undergrad, 4 years postgrad. And I had my first daughter freshman year. So that really, and no regrets. I love my daughter, don't get me wrong, but that changed the course of my degree plan. Took a couple years off. So I stopped sophomore year, took a couple years off, work, little by little, and then changed it to biochemical, biophysical sciences. And then I used to, like I said, my dad, he tried to help, you know, but financially it was very hard for him. So I got grants and partial scholarships and blah, blah, blah. So I was doing this thing called the NASA Space Challenge program that was geared towards Hispanic science and math majors. So I would attend labs, help them out at NASA, as well as teach inner city kids math and science, or tutor them rather, and paid for my college, dude. It was pretty cool. I mean, it took me a long time, but I finished.
That's freaking crazy, because I was raised by a single mom, and I understand the struggles that
absolutely
that come along with that and having to work. I wasn't able to finish school, but what would you tell our listeners, to somebody like, hey, I'm born into this situation? Are you held down by it, or
dude? Absolutely not, man. That's kind of one thing, you know. We make our own. Whether you believe in predestination, whatever, we make our own path, dude. You flat out. Period. You can either, you know, accept mediocrity or accept to be broke or whatever, or you go out there and work for it, you know, whatever. There's no, you know, as corny as it may sound, there are no limitations, man. Yeah. I mean, we have our physical and mental limitations. If I say I'm going to go play for the NBA, I don't care how bad I want it, it's not going to happen. But yeah, man, I mean, there's, like I said, mom and dad, they were migrant workers, you know, growing up in South Texas. Mom never worked. Dad came here, worked his butt off. And, you know, we had some really tough times, but he provided a good life for us, you know. And I mean, given all of the avenues that we have now in regards to education, whatever, just go do it, man. Don't complain about it. Don't cry about it. Just go out and do it, you know.
Man, I love it. Yeah. If Veronica was here, she'd go ahead and preface something that she always listens to. It's a podcast. It's called The Made Up Mind. The power of the made up mind. And that's big for her. And that's exactly what I'm getting from you. Just go out and do it. Yeah. Don't let something hold you down. Just because you had to go, just because we went to Aldine ISD doesn't mean we don't have the same opportunities as someone that went to Bel Air High School or anything like that. You just said you were accepted to
everywhere, man. I mean, of course, no Ivy Leagues, but I could have gone every big school in Texas. I was there.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge.
You know, and it's just one of the, but that's the thing, mom and dad, I think my wife and I kind of messed up with our daughters because we kind of get, you know, old school Mexican Catholic mom and dad. So, I mean, you're going to church, you're going to college, like no choice. I was just only the second one. My older cousin, and he graduated from Stanford. Wow. So I was only the second one, and there was no choice. My wife and I, we kind of gave our daughters a little bit of that leeway, like, take your time, decide where I should have been. Like, no, you know, you're going to freaking school, but, you know, live and learn, live and learn. And they're all kind of finding their own path. We try to instill good work ethic. We do the best we can there. But at the end of the day, dude, it's all up to the individual.
That's 100% right.
Yeah.
Let's touch back on some things when we get back from a commercial break. I want to learn more about your way up the ranks with boxing and fighting and where you're at now as far as training and things like that. Cool.
Houston, have you considered creating your own podcast just like this episode? Let us help you record, produce, and distribute your ideas in your very own podcast. To learn how to get started, contact us at info@houstonpodcaststudio.com.
Hey guys, thanks for coming back. So in talking during the break, it looks like Matt and Coach here have a lot of similarities as far as growing up Catholic. And I grew up Catholic. My mom would make me get up and down. And Coach, you said you got your legs from...
Oh, I got my legs from Catholic church for sure. Kneel stand, yeah. Absolutely.
So do you credit Catholic Church or being Catholic to anything that you did in your life?
I think those were more life lessons from my parents. I think church, as a young man, being rebellious, being a knucklehead a lot of the times, I don't want to go to church.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do what they say. I don't care about it. It's just being a young, dumb kid,
Yeah,
But in retrospect, there were a lot of valuable lessons that I learned. When I began my Muay Thai journey, Muay Thai is riddled in tradition and culture, which is amazing. It's one of the only martial arts that's like that, and Buddhism being one of them. So I've been going to Buddhist temple for, I don't know, at least 20 years, maybe even longer. And that's actually kind of made me a better Christian. The thing with Buddhism, it's not, you don't worship a god. Buddha was a man, so it's philosophy. So whenever I go to temple, man, it's just, you kind of just talk.
Yeah.
You just kind of talk. And when I'm in Thailand, the monks will tattoo me out there and they talk to me. And, it's just kind of made me a better, I don't even want to say a Catholic anymore, but just a Christian, because I just don't subscribe to Christianity. I can't. I can't. A lot of, if we're in the mood, my wife and I will go to our old church, that we grew up in. If we want to go to a non-denom, we're going to go. Yeah. The one thing that I will refuse to do is be labeled into what. At the end of the day, I believe in God and I believe in Jesus, and he died for us. But don't,
don't pigeonhole you.
I just want to. Jesus and I are cool. God and I are cool. We talk every day, but I do it on my terms. And that's where I tend to ruffle some feathers, especially with mom and dad. Well, mom especially, What about you? Same thing?
Well, same thing. And it's where, like, my personal belief is, I think it's good to have some kind of foundation and believing in something where, and my personal belief is I'm, Catholic, and I do identify as Catholic now, but any, denomination, whatever you have, I feel like we're all praying to the same, whatever it is.
Absolutely.
It's just you interpret things differently. And so we the 1,000+ years that we've passed down, the traditions, some things have to have been like playing telephone where you misinterpret certain things, or some people interpret things one way or some interpret another. But I feel like we're all supporting the same, like, whatever superior being that kind of unites us together.
Absolutely. I think at the end of the day, and I mean, unless you're talking about religions that are extremely radical, dude, they're all the same. Be good.
Yeah.
Be nice.
They all follow the same rules.
Yeah, be nice.
Yeah.
In fact, when I get like tattooed in Thailand, it's something called sakyant. And the tattoos mean different things, and the monks, give them to you. And at the end of it, they put this script under there or over the tattoo or wherever on the tattoo, and you can't equate it to Thai or English. You just kind of like equate it to musical notes. There's no translation because they actually put white magic on it, and they do this chant. And whether you subscribe to it or not, but it's a really like surreal experience. But then they give you a sheet of paper before you leave with these 10 rules that you have to follow in order for the white magic to protect you and to work. Respect your mother and father. Don't kill anybody. Like, it was like, I mean, very, very close. Similar. Now, there were some, no alcohol. And even though I'm not a big drinker anymore, I'll drink some whiskey every now and then, or a few beers. So I guess the white magic's not going to work because I'm gonna have a couple drinks.
Won't be as potent.
Exactly. And then no gourd melon, like gourd fruits. So no watermelon. I never asked why, but it's like that's an interesting one for sure.
Can't have that pumpkin latte spice
exactly.
anymore.
Exactly. Yep. That's right. So yesterday started all that.
That's right.
First day of fall. Yeah.
Oh man, nice breeze out.
Yeah. I need to do like a pumpkin spice Muay Thai cardio class, and just like to boost sales, man. All the girls in yoga pants and Uggs coming in to train Muay Thai.
No. So you said you're getting tattooed by the monks. Is there a certain ritual or certain?
Yeah, it's actually very ritualistic, man.
Yeah?
It's weird. Well, not weird. It's just culturally relative. It's different when you go to the temple. You never hand them cash or anything like that. You have an envelope, and essentially you place it on this plate. You do something called a Y, which is kind of like a bow. They don't Y back. They just accept it. You don't touch a monk. You don't point your toes to a monk. And then you also take a pack of menthol cigarettes and flowers, because what they do is they have like, little convenience stores around the surrounding area. They sell them there, and then they get that money in return to help, with the upkeep, financially of the temple.
That's very cool.
It's really cool. Really cool.
Your tattoo have any meaning to it?
I have several, but like the one on my chest, generally when you get sakyant tattoos, you get like this beginner one. Like it's kind of the one that everybody, gets. But I was already older, kind of an authority figure as a teacher, Muay Thai, business owner.
Yeah.
So he's like, no, you pass this one up. So he chose the one. You don't choose it.
They pretty much tattoo what
I mean,
they
you
want.
can choose it, but I let him pick, and he chose this one. And it's basically a tiger for protection, and it's about a 5-hour tattoo, and they hand poke it.
So it's a hand poke, no machine.
Yeah, it hurts.
Wow.
It hurts.
I'm over here like
Yeah.
I want to go get tattooed now.
Right? It hurts.
No.
Maybe says tattoos don't hurt, man. There's something wrong with them.
I'm covered in that. I understand. They hurt.
Yeah.
So going back to the home Muay Thai
Mm-hmm.
and doing that, there must have been a certain level of dedication that you said, "Hey, I'm gonna devote my life to this." When did that happen for you?
Man, it's weird. It didn't really happen like that. I got into it kind of by accident, coming in as a sparring partner, and then when we were doing like jiu-jitsu, for example, and like coach or teacher would put me with a new student, I'd kind of walk him through positions or whatever, and I'll never forget. He's like, they called me Bobby at the time. It's like, Bobby, that you can be a really good teacher one day. I just had a way of relaying information. Yeah. And then I'd never held mitts before. When I was boxing, you didn't hit mitts with a coach, man. You just didn't. Yeah. I just kind of had a natural kind of affinity for that, and I actually attribute it to my baseball because I was second baseman, so soft hands.
Soft hands,
so
real soft
it's
hands.
the same thing. So when you mitt, it's even like sometimes when you're blocking a punch, it's called, instead of a parry, mitt. So it's like you're catching a ball, boom, boom. So I swear to you, baseball helped me. So got into holding pads by accident. Hey, can you teach this class by accident? And it just started happening. But in regards to like a defining moment, no, man, it's weird. It's just weird. I just think it was meant to be.
No, and that as a coach, I guess your coach, your friend, your dad, your psychiatrist,
marriage counselor, grief counselor. You wear a lot of hats, man.
So do you really have to talk to each fighter individually differently?
Dude, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of female fighters, and I it's weird. Like I gravitate, I think, to them a lot because I have nothing but daughters. I've got 3 daughters, and they're all grown and gone, but they're all my daughter's age. So it's kind of like picturing my daughter in that position. So man, they'll get emotional, they'll cry, bad day. So come on, let's go talk. And so then I gotta pick them up for guys. So a lot of times I gotta pick them up if they don't believe in themselves enough. Sometimes they believe in themselves too much.
Yeah, bring them down.
You gotta kind of bring them back down to reality. So man, it's so many different things.
Wow, I can only imagine the conversations you have and how you have to motivate certain people certain ways.
Everyone's different, man.
Yeah,
everyone's different.
So do you ever get to the point where you're like, man, I understand what he's going through, but I don't? Or is it like you've seen a lot of it now, so you see the emotional stages that your fighters go through, and you know what's coming?
Man, kind of everything they've gone through, I've been through, just as a dad and trainer and practitioner, whatever, just a human. I can relate to all of it, but it does get to a point where like, all right, man, that's you can't cry every day, or you can't, you've got to just. Even for the girls, I tell them, man up. Like, there's a time where you just, guys, is this really what you want to do? Is this really what you want to do? Because if it's not, like, dude, just train and have fun. But fighting is not for everybody. No. Absolutely not.
No, fighting comes with a lot of consequences. I know you just went through a surgery. You said you tore.
This is my 11th.
Your 11th surgery.
Yeah, 11th surgery. First knee surgery, but 11th total. And they've all come from either me training for me or training fighters.
Wow, how did surgery go for you?
It was horrible. It was terrible, man. And I think for the most part, it was the bone repair. I had cracks. Once they got in there, it was ACL, MCL, meniscus. But once they got in there, they saw I had my femur had cracks in the outside of the patella. So they did bone repair. And I guess essentially they drill into the cracks and then allow the marrow and stuff and the osteoblast to kind of build, repaired bone. And so when the nerve block wears off that they give you, oh my gosh. I mean, it was horrible. Yeah. It was horrible, man. So yeah. And then I'm kind of anti-opiate. And I've had so many surgeries. They make me just feel horrible. Yeah. But I had no choice.
They come with so many symptoms and side effects and stuff like that. I know you just launched your CBD line. It's perfect intro here.
Yeah.
Tell me more about your CBD line, how that works. And did you use it for this surgery?
Man, I tried. And so the CBD, basically the gummies, they're good for minor aches and pains, for the everyday aches and pains. It actually is highly beneficial and also as a sleep aid. But that pain is so extreme, I took them and I got some like relief, but man, not for a pain like that. It was, I mean, they scoped me in 6 different places.
Man,
So it was horrible. So the CBD line, there's a guy named Frank that approached me. You know, he's kind of, I've known him through the years through like Chingo Bling, and he does music videos and stuff. And he always has like these great ideas. So he approached me with the idea. And I actually came up with Bob's stash, you know, and they made them into gummies. And, you know, dude, they're selling really well. It's kind of like weird. There was no like financial investment on my part, 0 risk. My attorney looked over the contract, made amendments, and it's pretty awesome, man.
Wow.
You know, but we just put some in Midtown, Total Nutrition. I think we did 30 boxes, and they called yesterday. That was 5 days ago for another order. They're kind of going fast. We'll be in the Heights location, I want to say the end of this week, and end of fourth quarter in 9 other locations.
Wow.
So we're kind of crunching the numbers, and if that's any sort of projection of what we could possibly get monthly, pretty cool, man. You know, pretty cool. You know, I'm at a point in my life, and it's not about greed or money. Or I just, you know, if it's legal and it's, I'm ethically cool with it, I'm gonna make money for my family, as much money as I possibly can.
This show is called a legacy. We live a legacy, and we leave a legacy.
Absolutely. You know,
so
you can't take, you know, money with you when you die. You know, people without money generally say that. You know, and I understand that you can't, but I want to make sure that they're taken care of.
Exactly.
You know,
you're leaving that lineage.
Absolutely.
You want to make sure that your kids' and their kids' if you can set the family up 3 or 4 generations down the line, why wouldn't you?
Absolutely. Like Big Derek, you know, in the UFC, Big Derek, you know, he fights for a couple more years, whether he wins the title or not, but I really think he will.
I think he's on the verge of winning the title.
His great-grandkids will never have to work as long as they manage the money properly. We're talking about a guy, talk about inspiration, 6 years ago, had nothing. I mean, nothing.
I remember when I used to see him training at 4 ounce.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, he literally made a splash, and he's killing it.
He is, man.
He's killing it. And I think, like you said, it's with any professional athlete, as long as they're managed correctly and not being taken advantage by anyone, they can leave that legacy and that lineage down the line.
Absolutely.
But the biggest point is making sure that it's managed properly.
Absolutely.
Because everyone at the end of the day, sometimes there's far and few in between people that are genuine and like, hey, this is, like you said, no monetary came out of my pocket. We just did something together and it's taken off.
Yeah.
That's like a unicorn deal.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. Like, what a blessing, man. Yeah. Like, I'm very grateful.
Everyone
for
else
that.
is like, well, you give me this and I'll try to give you this back.
Yeah. It was kind of one of those things like, if it fails, it fails, but we're going to try, you know, see what happens, you know?
No, that's awesome.
And it seems to be doing really well. I need to get you some, by the way.
I'll try them for sure. I know I have trouble going to sleep. I'm usually up at 1 in the morning messaging Matt.
Yeah.
And then we're up at 5 in the morning messaging again.
Well, the thing is, you take a couple and it should really help you.
Just relax.
Like kind of knock you out. And then the balm that goes on the skin, I'll get you that as well.
Yeah.
That helps with a lot of aches and pains.
That's awesome. No. I know CBD. I know what it does. I'm all for the medical part of it. But once it's legal, it's just once it's legal here in Texas, I enjoy that too.
Absolutely.
Let's take another break here. Let's put another commercial in for one of our sponsors, and then we'll come in and wrap it up. I want to talk about motivation, how you motivate each fighter individually. Sure. Yep.
Houston, have you considered creating your own podcast just like this episode? Let us help you record, produce, and distribute your ideas in your very own podcast. To learn how to get started, contact us at info@houstonpodcaststudio.com.
Hey guys, thanks for hopping back on. Just jumping back into it, Coach. I know you brought up Derek Lewis as one of your fighters. I know you have plenty others. How many fighters do you coach now?
I think total at the gym between MMA, Muay Thai, and some of the boxers, I mean, there's got to be at least 60. Currently 7 in the UFC, 2 in the top 10 right now. So it's doing really, really good. Now,
each fighter, we talked about earlier, you have to coach them differently. Now, on fight days, is there certain rituals that you have for each individual fighter?
Yep.
What would you tell somebody that you tell them as far as motivation? How do you get these guys going? Because they're competitors on a different level.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Somebody like Derek, like fight day is super quiet, and I leave after weigh-ins because we usually room together for the UFC. And after weigh-ins, I'm gone because he's already kind of getting. I go back a little later at night. He's already in bed. I get up before he does the next day. I'm gone. I have our itinerary. I know when we're going to leave. generally about 2 hours before, Derek's like, hey, Bob, can we talk? So I'll go and just kind of get in his head a little bit. And he just, not even me getting in his head, but any anxieties or concerns or things that he feels he needs to get off his chest, he says it, or what he feels he's very confident about. Like we kind of go into that game planning stuff. And right after that, game time, like he's ready to go.
Switch.
I mean, ready to go. He's motivated by money, which you should be, you know, to take care of your family. So I remind him a lot. Now, thank God he's got great management. They've got him to a point where it doesn't matter if he wins or loses. He gets paid what he gets paid versus, you know, show pay and win bonus. But at that time, like, this guy's fixing to take half your money, buddy. I'll tell him in between rounds, like, don't forget why your family. Some people like to laugh, like, honestly, like they just like to joke around and be like Lauren Murphy. She just fought UFC Newark. She won by TKO knee. She likes it really light and kind of happy. And then, you know, when it's go time, a little more serious. We're in the locker room, a little more serious, but still kind of smiling and having fun and a lot of positivity. I have some guys where I'm like, you need to end this guy. I mean, I have to get him angry, you know, like really get him angry. And I have some people that just don't care. They don't need any motivation. They're like, I'm going to go fight. And that's it. But I kind of tell everybody the same thing before and they get in the cage. I'm like, I love you. I believe in you. Go have fun. You know, and that's kind of it, man.
And that's awesome. Yeah. No, it's crazy. I know Derek is he's known for his strength and his power.
Oh God, it's crazy.
I think he can knock out almost anyone in the UFC.
And I mean, he is without a doubt. I mean, the hardest hitter. You know, people talk about Francis, but there's no doubt in my mind. DC did an interview where they asked who the hardest hitter he's ever faced, and he goes, without a doubt, Derek Lewis. And Derek barely clipped him. He barely got a chance. DC's wrestling is just so good, but Derek, man, if Derek would have like hit him, it would have been bad. And that's what we're looking for. We're in the third round. We're looking to start turning it up, and we almost got there. We didn't get there, but Derek wanted to pace 5-round fight. Yeah. But no, man, I think he's a freak. Yeah. He fights again November 2nd.
Wow, that's coming around the corner. So you got camp coming up.
We're in camp.
You're in camp now.
Yeah.
Wow. No, I know he just went through the surgery too, right?
He had his in March, and then we've been rehabbing together this whole time, and strength conditioning on the leg, and blah blah blah, and fight camps actually started now.
Yeah. That's awesome, and I know it's Main Street where you're at. And tell me how you got to Main Street. How did that come about?
Well, man, my old partner Michael Corley, he's a Muay Thai guy. He's president of the United States Muay Thai Federation. Legit, man. He's really good. I was still at 4 ounce. He's like, hey man, you want to just do like a Muay Thai gym? And I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. We need him here. And we subleased at Main Street.
Wow.
And then Michael wound up doing his own thing. And then I just went in with Lou Savarese and Bobby Benton. And that's it, man. But Main Street's been open since --
Wow.
Bill Benton, Bobby's dad. So one of my partners, Lou Savarese, is former heavyweight champion of the world. Fought everybody. Bobby probably cornered his first, world boxing, like WBO title at 18. I mean, he's just been immersed in boxing since he was born. His dad, David Tua, Holyfield, like any boxer you can imagine in the 80s and 90s did their camps here.
Wow.
Yeah. People still come from all over the world, boxers, to do their camps at Main Street.
That's freaking amazing, man. It's just empowering right there. It's just like you go from being a kid that loved baseball, went to Eisenhower, environmental scientist. You were
16 years. Yeah.
16 years. You were up until like what, 5 years ago?
This is my third year, just passed. And it was on my wife's encouragement because I was, working all the time, 2 different gyms, and I was, I'm kind of on the fence, and I won't say her exact words, but basically she's just like, man up and do it. And I'm like, all right on. So I did it,
Yeah.
And it's been great, man.
I know you and your wife, there's a special story how y'all got married and how you
got married here, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got married here. There's so many memories in the Arena Theater, but we got married here.
Yeah.
We were just kind of chilling one night. We just gotten into bed watching TV, and we talked about getting married, obviously, and she's like, wouldn't it be, funny if, you hit up Mick and say, hey, can we get married at Legacy? And I'm like, are you being serious? And she's like, yeah. I got him on the phone in 5 minutes. He's like, hell yeah, absolutely. So she didn't think it was going to happen.
So did it happen like fight night where there was fights going on?
Yeah. Yeah, dude, our rings got sponsored. Like, Mick paid us. Like, we already were established. We had everything we needed. So, you know, people are like, what do you want for a gift? I'm like, dude, buy a ticket to the fight. So we sold a lot of tickets. And
who was fighting that night?
Daniel Pineda was fighting that night. He fought Ray Blodgett for the title. He won that night. And that's the only one I had because we knew I've had up to 9 people on a Legacy card.
I know. I've been
even
to Legacy
on
fights,
Bellator. And so it was just so cool to just have Pitt on that one. And it was just amazing, man. It was just amazing. And then, you know, Mick cut us a check, you know, and it's like, this is awesome, man. Like, this is great. So we figured for our 10-year, it's coming up here in the next couple of years. You know, I was like, man, I need to talk to Dana White about possibly renewing our vows, you know, in the octagon. So highly doubtful, but it would be cool.
We'll tag Dana on this one so he can hear it.
Absolutely.
See what he says.
And, you know, Mick is now matchmaking for them. You know, the former owner of Legacy is now, it's just amazing, man. He's still one of my best friends. He's killing it, dude. Killing it.
No, it's a great story, and the way it's moved on from him being at Legacy now matchmaking at UFC.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Absolutely.
No. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. And if you had to tell our guests or our listeners, motivate them to continue doing life. If they were to fall down and they're like, man, I'm at a point where I just want to give up, or this isn't for me. I can't go down that route. I can't be like Coach. Well, you can't be like Coach because Coach is Coach. Yeah. But you can be almost like that. You can also go to school, get your degree, and cross all these different hurdles.
Absolutely.
What would you tell these people?
You know, like you said, you can't be like Coach. I can't be like you. Like, my journey is my journey. You know, yours is yours. Yours is yours. But I mean, as corny as it is or may sound, like, dude, just do it. I mean, try. Like, you cannot be scared to try. You cannot be scared to fail. You know, do what makes you happy, and I promise you're gonna be happy. There's gonna be some hard times, of course, but, like, you know, just don't let anybody tell you otherwise. I
love it.
Period.
I think we just found the name for the show. Just do it.
Just do it. Yeah.
we might get sued.
Dude.
I think I'm still small enough where Nike will leave me alone.
Right.
Oh man, but thank you for coming in. Thank you for your time. Thanks for chatting with us. We'd love to have you back
anytime.
Maybe after the camp is over, you and Derek come in. We'll all just chop it up and talk.
It'll be a lot of fun, man.
Yeah?
A lot of fun.
Awesome.
Good.
All right. Well, thank you so
All
much.
right, thank you, guys.